Hello, my fellow comic book collectors. This is another in my series of comic-related videos on investing in low-grade comics. This video is going to be a little different. Major keys, and this is a major key, but major keys that have like a lot of brand recognition where people really, there's a huge following, like a Spider-Man or Hulk or some kind of major character. This is a major character, but it's not one that's super popular today. It's more those people who are into comics maybe would know it, but the general public wouldn't. So like everybody knows Spider-Man, but this character is one of those characters that isn't as popular as Spider-Man. It's just not as well known. And I want to show you it. I'm going to take it out of the bag so you can see a bit better. It's a rare, very rare comic actually. And it's Phantom Stranger #1. Now this is the first appearance of Phantom Stranger. And it's a very, as I said, it's a very rare comic. To get it in a high grade would be, a pretty pricey book. It's not as because it's not as popular of a character as some of the other characters like Spider-Man's and like any of the X-Men. It's, it's a little bit more affordable. So this is Phantom Stranger #1, and it's a low grade. It's a 2.0, as I said. It's a blue label, but it's just a low grade. It's like the cover is detached. That's why it got the grade that it did. But it presents very, very well, actually. It presents maybe a 3, but because the cover is detached and it has a pretty rough spine, it got the lower grade. So now, is this a good comic to invest in? Because as I said, it's not a character that's super, super popular and not really well known by the general public. And, typically when people are investing in comics, when they're seeing it just purely as an investment, they're looking at comics that are well known. And with that said, I kind of want to show you the numbers for this comic and show you how it's kind of been affected by this recent kind of COVID stimulus check driven environment where there's this sort of spike in all comics. So I want to show you this comic is a kind of a example of a comic that's maybe a little bit outside the mainstream, but still a valid blue chip comic. So let me just pause for one second. So here's a go collect analysis of Phantom Stranger. So it doesn't mention that it is the first appearance, but it's the first appearance of the Phantom Stranger. And you'll notice a 9.8 there is no 9.8. They always put this sort of guess at how much a 9.8 would go for. And again, a 9.6, there's none that they know of. So you'll see 9.4s go for around 12,000. And that was the last sale was in May of 2015. So it's been a while since even one of those really high grade ones has even been seen. As I said, it's a fairly rare comic. You'll notice that there's only 89 of them on the census. So just to give you a sense of how rare this comic is, it's just a really rare comic. And a 2.0, like I paid, this is my price. I paid $10.50 for my copy in August of 2020. So this is my sale right here. It says there was 2 sales. Well, this was my sale right here, $10.50. So typically, it's one of those ones that just doesn't sell that very often. It's kind of a rare one that, and there is like a small following. So sometimes these kind of rare comics that has a small following, it's one that you can actually make some money on, and I'll show you that. I'm going to go deeper into the numbers and show you how you can make some money on these low grade, but kind of, under followed comics. Okay, so if we look at the ones that have sold in the census, so my 2.0 went up 59%, and even a 1.5 went up like 24%. I have two copies of Phantom Stranger #1. My other copy is a 1.5, so it's kind of funny. Um, so I have, the two that went up, and you'll notice that again in the low grades, like the 3.5 went up 265%, and the 4.0 went up 500%. Now those numbers might seem like, oh wow, huge jump in price, but generally what it is a lot of these are situations where it's just coming up on market. They don't come on the market very often, and when they do, there's usually a jump in that price because people who are interested in this comic, and it's a very small number of people, but the people that are interested in it will jump on the opportunity to get it because it's just such a rare opportunity. So that's really what I'm trying to get at with this, that these are the kind of comics where they have a small following, but they will generally command a little bit more, and you'll get that increase in price just because they're rare and people are willing to pay a little bit more to get them, and you'll get that jump anytime you can list one of these on for sale. So the number 3, the 3.0 went down a little bit, and that happens. As I said, maybe there was an overpay. If we went further into this sales data, we could probably find out why it went down. But typically you'll notice that pretty good rate of return year to year. And that is because it's like such a scarce comic that people will kind of overpay when it does come up, because those collectors that are interested in this comic will definitely be constantly on the lookout for those comics. And you'll probably notice what'll happen is people will do the same thing that I did. I had a low grade one, and then I upgraded. So you'll see what'll happen is there'll be sort of a trickle up phenomena that'll happen with this comic, where what people will do is they will get that low grade, but just whatever they can pick up, whatever copy they can pick up, they'll generally try to pick it up. And then when they have the opportunity to upgrade, they will. So you'll see that kind of trickle up where the prices will kind of go. Typically, it's like a trickle down where people see the 9.8 go for like a huge price, and then the subsequent lower grades will all get sort of a boost as a result. Well, this is kind of the opposite, where the people are so desperate to find this comic that they'll pick up a low grade just to have it, and then you'll get the pricing sort of go up as a result from the bottom up. So it's kind of a weird situation, not normal. As I said, this is really looking at a very specific case. And there are lots of comics that fit into this case where it's a low, there's a smaller market, and there's just a low number of issues of this comic, or there's just not many copies of it available. It's very scarce. And there's lots of them. Like a lot of the EC horror fit into this genre. Like if you watch heritage auctions, even if you don't buy, because the pricing can get really crazy. But if you watch the heritage auctions, whenever a rare EC horror comic comes up, you'll notice that the pricing, you'll see the guide price, and the guide price will be like $200 or something silly. But the final sale price on heritage will be $600-700, because those comics are just so rare that people are willing to pay 2-3 times whatever the fair market value is. So that's why these kind of low grade ones of these obscure comics that are still blue chip in the respect that they do have a following, and it's a very sincere, deep rooted following. Like these people are true fans of the character. Like I really enjoy Phantom Stranger. I'm a big fan of Phantom Stranger. I think he's one of the cooler characters with one of the cooler backstories of any of the DC characters. And as a result, I'm willing to try to find, pay a little extra to get these comics. I was lucky that when I got the comic, I got it at basically fair market value. So I was pretty lucky. But my 1.5, at the time I kind of overpaid a bit. And that was because I was kind of trying to find, and it would find the copy and it was just so hard to find. So I kind of want to just show this as a really good example of how obscure comics that have a following and that you can pick up fairly affordably. Still, like if you look at the pricing, these prices are nowhere near like a Hulk 1 or Amazing Fantasy 15. These are fairly affordable. We're looking at like $1,000. I mean, that's still a lot of money, but it's a lot cheaper than. But the point is, it's a much scarcer comic. So just having it can you can sort of flip it later, maybe a year later, where there is that pent up demand, and you can flip it for 2-3 times what you paid. So this is kind of, I'm trying to show you some kind of different nuances to investing in low grade comics. And I hope this has been interesting for you. Thanks for watching. Check out my other videos in this series. There's a lot of videos, and each try to give you a different perspective of how to invest in low grade comics. So, and check out my other videos. There's lots of fun videos on my channel, and thanks for watching. Bye.